Hi everyone, and welcome to week 3 of English 200. My name is Beth Driver, and I want to quickly go through the poetry lesson this week and give you a little help with the assignments. First of all, it's important that you read through the lesson in its entirety this week. It's going to help you understand how to approach the poems. Now, I know the poems can seem a little tricky at first. If you have some difficulties with the poem, so please go ahead and message me and I can help you. I want to help you with these poetry interpretations. I don't want you to have to just go it alone. So if you ever have any difficulties, please send me a message. I want to help you. I'm there all the time and I'm more than happy to respond. Also, what might help you is if you think of the poems as brain teasers. Brain teasers are tricky at first, but then you read through it and read through it and read through them, and you come up with a meaning and a point behind the brain teaser, or you figure it out. Poems are the same way. Once you figure out the interpretation, it kind of is almost like a sense of achievement. And so just kind of think of that when you're going through the interpretations. You're not meant to come up with an interpretation with the first reading. You need to read the poems over and over again. Now, in the lesson, there are a number of vocabulary words that I want you to take a look at. Note that each of these components within the poem help you create an interpretation. The rhyme, how the poem is laid out, the language within the poem. Is the language heightened? Is it whimsical? And the music within the poem. All of these help to create a certain interpretation. Now, the vocabulary of poetry is also important to understand. Does it closely follow rules? Does it kind of go off and seem kind of whimsical without any sort of punctuation? Does it have a specific rhythm? Does it have a specific stress, unstress, stress, unstress? Those kinds of components within the poem will help you come up with an interpretation. And then, of course, we have the citation section. Citations are not required within the forums, but they will be next week when you have your essay due. So basically, when you cite poems, you need to cite the line number. And then if you cite a certain number of lines, you need to put slashes between lines. And so this section kind of explains how to cite poetry. It's a useful section. So, all right. So that's it for the lesson itself. I'm going to go ahead and close out of here. And then I want to kind of go through the assignments this week. So this week you do have a forum due. You also need to continue your classroom story project. Okay, so both of these are important assignments this week. The forum, before you complete the forum, make sure to go ahead and take the poetry and meaning quiz. So basically, you begin the assessment, and let's see what I've been assigned. Okay, I've been assigned liberty and peace. So I just say, I understand. If I don't understand, then I will be told to meet with my professor. Now, when you get assigned these poems, and I'll pull up Liberty and Peace. So let's go back to the lesson. We'll click on Next. And let's look for Liberty and Peace right here. This one's a little bit difficult, so I'll give you a little background about Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley was an African-American slave, and she was taught to read and write by her owners. And I put quote-unquote owners because obviously that was horrible, but she was quite intelligent. She showed a lot of gift for writing. And so what's interesting about her is that she was a published poet, even though she also was unfortunately a slave. So Liberty and Peace, if you do get assigned it, it's a lengthy poem, but since I'm not going to go through it line by line because I've read it a number of times, basically Liberty and Peace is discussing the American Revolution and the freedom of Americans from Britain, and Britannia is obviously Great Britain. And so what's interesting about it is that she's, discussing the positive components of becoming free from Britain. However, she's a slave. Okay, so if you do get assigned that poem, it's an interesting one. It's a little bit tricky because you have to read it a couple of times, and the language is quite heightened. And one of the reasons why the language is heightened is because she was showing that, and her, and I'm going to put quote unquote owners, although they did treat her fairly well for a slave, the owners wanted to show that African Americans have the ability, or Africans have the ability, obviously, to think heightened thoughts just like any European. And so that's why she has this heightened language. It's very difficult, perhaps, if you have problems, if you do get assigned Phillis Wheatley, please let me know. I know all the poems inside and out, so if you have any questions about any of the poems, please let me know. You will be required to discuss 3 poems. One would be the one that you're assigned, and then the other 2 would be comments on your classmates' poems as well. Okay, so you have a poem assigned, you have to continue the short story project, and you have to read the lesson. I also want you to take a look at these 2 links as well. These 2 links will help you understand the poems too. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. I'm always online and I want to help you. I will have your papers graded by the end of the week, by Friday. And I would like for you to review my comments. They will help you with the next assignment that you have due at the end of week 4. Anyway, have a great week, you guys. I'm looking forward to talking about the poems online with you.